Vibhuti Arora with us. You are the only Face Yogi.
I trademarked it. You don't interest yoga. Yoga interests you. I am certified by the Ministry of Ayush as a teacher evaluator. If I sit for one more exam, I can be called an Acharya.
Oh,
My passion in beauty was always there, but now it became a mission.
entrepreneurship has been so glorified.
If there are 7 days in the week, I cry 5 days in the morning. 12 साल पहले beauty tech क्या होता है इंडिया में किसी को नहीं पता था. Everything starts at the birth. That is the Ayurveda knowledge, the Vatvik of balance. Such a small vegetable gives me such a massive reaction.
When life throws lemons, oh absolutely, you make tequila and lime. Certainly.
I mean, Delhi, we live in a society. You have 3 tash parties at night and 2 kiddie birthdays in the afternoon, and that's a fact day.
That's a full-time job. Favorite place in India where you could spend your life?
In my husband's arms.
Oh my God. Weirdest beauty hack
To put cow urine on your face.
would you try? Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Because She Can. Today we have the exceptional Vibhuti Arora with us. She is one of India's first and only Face Yogi. And she is the founder of an exceptional skin brand called the House of Beauty, which is actually looking at a wholesome approach to beauty as a whole. So let's get into an amazing conversation. I'm really excited, hoping to learn a lot of tips and tricks and really know more about this. So thank you, Vibhuti, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here. And I can't wait to get this started because she can.
Because she can. I love that. So first things first, Face Yogi, right? What's a Face Yogi? How did you, I was Googling this and you are the only Face Yogi in India. How did you come up with this and what is it all about?
So I trademarked it for starters. That's why I'm the only one.
So lesson one, if you're coming up with something new, then
trademark it.
Yeah,
IP in today's day and age is very important.
I love that. I love that.
Also because, you have face and skincare and then you have yoga and yogis. Growing up, we see so much of Western skincare, traditional yoga or Ayurveda, and both of them are very different and appeal to very different audiences. But as a teenager or as a young adult, there was something missing and there was no bridge combining the two. And that's where Face Yogi happened. I believe when you're into yoga, a lot of insight comes to you from within.
Right.
Intuition plays a big role as well. And that's how Face Yogi was born.
I love that. Especially this yoga is something so Indian. But I feel it's almost that the West who have trademarked it or made it their own and made it popular.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how you got that back and you're bringing this. But tell me about your interest. You're interested in yoga, you've been interested in skincare. So I'd love to know about your early life and your early experiences.
You don't interest yoga. Yoga interests you.
Okay.
And I firmly believe in this because yoga finds you.
Okay.
And you only realize this at a later point in time. So when my grandmother, my grandfather would do yoga, and I was all of maybe 5 or 6,
Yes.
I would go pretending to do
I remember
Kapalbhati.
yes. And they teach you Kapalbhati.
Yeah, that's the first thing they teach you, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly and steadily, because जब मैं grow up हो रही थी as any teenager,
Right.
I was pretty chubby.
Yes.
I was very stout. I loved my laddus and I loved my chocolates. And then I started to do a little bit of, exercising plus yoga as a weight loss regime, lung expansion. And then, you go into your teenage years, acne aa jata hai, pimples aa jate hai. Dadi maa ke nuske, they say you do your anulom vilom and clean skin ho jayegi, glowing skin ho jayegi. It did. It definitely did to an extent that I come from a family where, our dinner table discussions were all about, we don't believe in idol worship. So we're all about who is the creator and what is yoga and what is the supreme light that makes us do things.
Lovely.
To the aspect that I have manifested, the word comes today, But as a child, I remember in grade 10, I've written the exact percentage and decimal that I want in my board exams, and that has come true. So तब मुझे पता नहीं था कि इसका term manifestation है, but we used to ask the universe to make things happen, and it does, and that is how you become a believer. You convert, whether you are a believer or a non-believer, you become a believer, and that is where my quest for knowledge into yoga or connection with yoga started. Of course, we travel abroad, we go for our studies, and that is where all of this comes to a pause. I did not do my yoga at that point in time, but that is where my quest for beauty started, my passion for beauty started. And many, many years ago, I'm not going to reveal my age, but
Face Yogi is ageless. Right?
Absolutely. So many decades ago, when I told my parents, and at that point in time, Hoda was also just about starting her career in Dubai. So
guys, you can try and calculate.
I told my parents, I want to be a makeup artist. And I want to learn makeup. And they're like, okay, good passion, but can you please finish your MBA first?
Right.
Become like a doctor, lawyer.
Is that even a real career option, right? I mean, at that point of time, it's like, yeah, you do it for fun.
Exactly.
It wasn't
acceptable at that point in time. So I did that. I did my tick marks like a good daughter. I did my MBA. I worked for a bank. But this search or this quest to do something in beauty was unsatisfied, and that is where my passion for skincare and beauty began. I went to a French university then to study cosmetology, study makeup, while I could not do it professionally.
Right.
But God had another plan, which we will discuss, and that's how I landed becoming a face yogi and starting House of Beauty.
Oh, that's amazing. And then you were certified as a face.
So funny story. I am certified by the Ministry of Ayush as a teacher evaluator.
Okay.
And this is about 1,500 hours of yoga education that you do. If I sit for one more exam, I can be called an Acharya.
Oh, no. So, I mean, Acharya, Vibhuti Arora.
Absolutely.
For the next time you come back.
Yeah. But, so the Rig Veda has about 8 face yoga exercises.
Okay.
And from 8 to 80 to about 280 today are something that I have written, done the research and development, for which I'm doing my PhD now. And that is where we give out certifications for face yoga globally. 90% of the teachers you see on the internet are actually certified by my school. So, and now we are talking to the ministry to actually make face yoga as a part of the yoga curriculum. And that is where the certification and the journey begins.
That's amazing. So basically, you've taken these 8 yoga exercises and you built it out to a regime of 280.
Yeah.
And how was this? Like, how did you figure this? And, what's the process?
So you remember?
And then I'd love to know, like, how really does face yoga work and what's its connection with, so obviously breathing exercises are for lungs, like what's the science and the art behind it?
Absolutely. So as I did mention that yoga finds you, you don't go looking for it.
Yeah.
And that is where, when I moved from Dubai to Delhi, I was hit by an autoimmune skin condition called lupus. Lupus is a chronic form of psoriasis or eczema, and I went from pillar to post to every dermatologist in the country, unfortunately, apart from those 2 steroid creams and a couple of pills.
And everyone keeps giving you the same.
Yeah. Nobody could cure me. In fact, one very reputed doctor made my case worse. I had a drug rash or a reaction, measles-like symptoms all over my body. To the extent that he said, I have to do my biopsy, laser, the bills are enormous, and you are going to die. And that is where I resorted to yoga. My journey in yoga, which was paused in my teenage years, began.
Wow.
And that is how I stumbled upon face yoga. My passion in beauty was always there, but now it became a mission for people because autoimmune skin conditions have no solution, right? Or no treatment, no cure.
And they say that you're just used to it, or you then live with it.
You live with it, right? But I devised the art, the science, the methodology to control my triggers and ensure that the relapse of this, if it was happening every month now, the relapse of it is as low as once a year and the symptoms are only 10%. That is where I made it my mission to go out, spread the awareness that if you are going through an autoimmune skin condition, you can control it. And that is the power of your mind. How it works is the signature House of Beauty technique, which I've gone and copywritten. So while the Rig Veda has your 8 asanas for the face, which is your Simhasan, which is the lioness pose, which is the lioness pose, or the pranayam, which is your Kapalbhati or your Anulom Vilom, and a few other mudras, balance that you do with your tongue. What I've done is I've devised this methodology into 5. You start with your 1-minute Vibhuti massage, which is a facial stretching or oil application. Now, Divya, if I have to ask you a question, how do you apply your cream or your oil in the morning? Your answer is going to be... Yeah?
And you run.
And you run, right? The first thing that you did was this, right? And this happens subconsciously because the minute we have oil or moisturizer, we massage it because we want it getting deeper into the layers of our skin. What are you doing? Creating a nasolabial fold here?
Yeah.
Creating your crow's feet?
Yeah. And you're actually increasing that and this line, which is aging, and you're creating a droop here. So over the years, a bad hand gesture is actually ensuring you age, or one of the reasons, faster, than otherwise. Oh my God.
Yes. And we go in. Yes. And that is where the House of Beauty technique comes in and says, hey, let's correct step 1. So the 1-minute Vibhuti massage is basically dividing your face into 5 zones to correct the droop and your jowls, to lift your face for eye dark circles, puffiness issues, crow's feet, forehead lines, frown lines, and neck drainage. Now, neck also, traditionally in India at least, we've been massaging your neck upwards. And that is giving you an illusion of a double chin. Especially when you're doing your lymphatic drainage in the morning, this has to be done downwards. So you start with your oil application, which is lifting upwards, draining your eyes.
So that would have been
that will be taking the oil into your palms, placing it across zone 1. Don't mix the zones. So we go 3 times like this. 1, 2, 3. 3 times across the apple of your cheek, lifting your entire face. And now you're lifting your nasolabial, tightening it till your temporalis, or your temple part. Then you initiate an under eye drain like this, upper eyelid drain to remove the puffiness that we wake up to, forehead lines, so forehead opposite swipes, and then we initiate the neck drain.
And which is down.
Which is downwards and upwards. Yes.
Wow.
So that is step 1 that you do every day. Then you move on to facial cardio or face yoga, which is a combination of traditional asanas and a little bit of massage. We then add 1 static pose to it from the Rig Veda. And the reason why I add this in my 5-step technique is because sometimes the cardio that I'm teaching you is to be done only 3 times a week. Not every day, because these are tiny muscles. They need to relax. They need to rejuvenate as well. You don't want them over.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times with skincare, we're rough with ourselves. We think, the harder, the better. That's kind of philosophy that we
correct. And that's what we're reversing. But some people, the harder, the better. Less is not more for them. And they're over enthusiastic. That's where we give them a face yoga pose, saying that you do this 100 times a day. It is super safe, super effective. and it's going to keep you occupied and satisfied mentally. Because mind
done something, you're working on this. It's not.
Yeah, it's you don't need the whole regime to be done just for that glow, right? So we'd satiate their need to do more. And then we end this with a cool down breath or a pranayam, because that is where the oxygenation is needed. That is where the lung expansion is needed. When you're doing face yoga by house, you're increasing the blood flow onto your face. You're stimulating your collagen. You're initiating a lymphatic drainage. All of this is only possible when your blood is pumped with oxygen. And that's why the pranayam becomes very, very important. Also, in case you've done something wrong, I'm not there to monitor you all the time, am I? So in case in your own time, you've done something wrong, the pranayam will actually correct that, and there will be no lines or creases on your face left. We sum this up with a face tool again, because someone or the other is enthusiastic, wants faster results, and that's where the 5 seconds
easier, right? I think if you have a tool, then the chances of errors, and it's just
easier. Yeah. So that is the science, the art, the methodology summed up to what I do.
I love that. And, I think there's been such a big focus, say, on meditation or taking time out.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you've actually put so many of these things together, because it's not just a skin regime, it's also you're clarifying your mind, body, soul.
So people come to me for face yoga, for anti-aging, but I always say I touch them from a beauty wellness point, and they leave out with so much more, so much more mental peace, so much more satisfaction, so much more awareness, and so much more in terms of their quest to now go in and satiate whatever was missing from within.
Absolutely. And, Vibhuti, what's very interesting about what you're doing and what you're saying, what I'm hearing, is that a lot of times we're looking for solutions outside. But I think what I'm hearing is that at the end of the day, your beauty, being ageless, being unique, is in your own hands, almost, and you're empowering people to take that in their own hands versus the traditional or the Western skincare, which is all pushing.
Yeah.
Now use this cream, this steroid, ye karo, wo karo, this procedure, etc.
99% of what I teach and promote is working on your body's auto-healing response. We hold the power to heal ourselves. We just don't know how to. And face yoga is one of those channels
that's empowering. And so you would say something like this would be a 5 to 10 minutes a day?
So the signature 1 minute Vibhuti massage is 1 minute a day. And then the whole cardio regime is about 15 minutes, 3 times a week, no more. And that's all that you do.
Lovely. And so I'd love to get into, actually the school and the massages, and how do you sort of, what else can you do and to incorporate?
So we incorporate acupressure techniques. We incorporate a lot of sound healing in this as well. By the demeanor, with the experience, of course, we know whether they have insomnia, they're restless, there are certain underlying conditions, because they come out onto the face first, whether their gut health is at ease or not. That's where your acne, rashes, pigmentation, uneven skin tone comes into being. Their hygiene as well, right? What is there? We may wear the best of the best clothes, but we may have so much of melia under the skin because we're not exfoliating or removing the dead layer of our skin every week, which we're supposed to do. So that is where we build on. So when we started with 8 to 80 to 280, we are now adding to what an individual needs, customizing each need, each routine, end to end, to fulfill your goal.
And Vibhuti, what I'm also hearing is that it's a very wholesome approach, right? It's very hard to have great skin and look beautiful if you're not taking care of the other aspects of your skin and your life, and whether that's sleep, whether that's food and fitness, or just living a life that's stress-free, is something that you need to incorporate in life.
Yeah. And that's what I promote. If anybody comes in for a skin consult with me, for example, my approach is not about, okay, do this, write this, do this cream. No, we actually get down to the basics as to who are you? What are your working hours? What is the amount of sleep that you do? Even at my center in Vasant Vihar, we make them fill a very, very cohesive form saying that, okay, are there any other conditions? Over and above that, we also get to a point where we ask them, what is your end goal? Because I may see a skin condition and an underlying issue, but if that is not an issue for you, I'm not going to mess around with your brain, which a lot of people do, right? They prey on insecurities, but the approach has to be
what is it that is first bothering you, and let's try and find it.
Let's try and find that. And then we go on to correction. I always start with a gut balance, your food from an Ayurvedic perspective. I have an Ayurvedic doctor. We do the Vat Pitta Kapha analysis. We give you a food diet. We then move on to your skincare. What is missing? What is it that you're doing correct? What is it that needs to change? And how much? If you're a minimalist, we push a minimalist routine. There is no need to do a 10-step routine if you feel you're only going to do it for 2 weeks and then forget about it.
Absolutely.
If it is not who you are, there is no need. There's always a smaller solution to it, and we help you.
I love that. Like, it has to be personalized for you. And in fact, that was that. It's like for your unique beauty. It's not some external standard of, Alia Bhatt is doing it, so then that's what you need to do. Deepika Padukone's using it, so that's a product that you need.
Her skin's very different, your skin's very different, her lifestyle's very different, your lifestyle's very different, your food habits are poles apart, the weather conditions are pole apart. How can you just buy a skincare cream because...
I love that. And maybe then let me segue into this. Like, I think a lot of us, I was reading this on Twitter, it's like a lot of our information these days is from reels, right? I saw a reel on, this is the way skincare should be done. That becomes information. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I think we're consuming so much of our information on what Insta's telling us, what reel is telling us, what our favorite Instagram influencers telling us. Hey, this is a great cream. Katrina's got a new beauty, this thing, and we start consuming that.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
So I actually put a different spin to it. I love the fact that Instagram and Instagram Reels give us so much information. Because if I have to ask 95% of Indian women today, how many of you read the newspaper or watch the news, or where do you get the information from?
Yeah,
it's the WhatsApp.
Yeah. Your WhatsApp group. Earthquake hua, WhatsApp mein aaya, earthquake hua.
Exactly. Whether you feel it or you don't feel it, you read about it, so you know.
Yeah, right.
And you can use this to your advantage or disadvantage. Now, I would like to, I'm a positivist. I like to see things for the good.
Right.
So now I'm consuming this information. I get to know through my favorite influencer, oh, ABC brand has launched something, or this is happening around. But do I blindly follow it? Maybe not. That is where I put a little bit of thought, I do a little bit of research, and then come to the application of it. So yeah, it's two sides of the same coin.
Absolutely.
It depends on what side you're looking at.
And then I think, use your own judgment to this thing.
And you also have so much of guidance available, right? There's so much of, you could consult with your dermat, you could consult with people like me, you can consult with someone who's tried and tested the product.
Right.
And that's what I mean by doing your research. See the ingredients. Today, with the FDA, with the government's laws for skincare today, the ingredient list is so transparent. You can see, you can read, you can understand that, okay, I have been using ABC brand's chemical sunscreen, the blue bottle, if you know what I'm talking about, on my child, and that has oxybenzone. I didn't know this 10 years ago that is a big carcinogen, but today I do. Do I switch to a natural counterpart? That information is available.
And I think that is something for each one of us to be aware, right? I think it's not good enough to say we didn't know, right? I think in today's day and age, if you don't know, then you are at fault, right? It is literally your responsibility and your duty today to find out more, right? Like you have
the last session that you hosted at Google, which was so amazing for generative AI. You don't need to know. With AI prompts, they push it
to you. Yes. But you need to ask that prompt, right? Like go there, ask the question. You'll get the answer. Don't be unaware.
Absolutely.
Tell me about your journey being an entrepreneur. What was it like to come to Delhi, to set this up, to set up your school, to set up your center? What does this journey of entrepreneurship look
like? Very difficult.
I like that. Thank you so much.
That's the first thing
very difficult. Yeah, I think entrepreneurship has been so glorified in the world. So I think that's lovely. That
it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes a lot out of you. But I guess it's the overdrive that keeps you going and the satisfaction that people. Funny story, and I'm such a small aspect into this. People recognize, right, that you're trying to make a change. You're a little bit of a change maker.
No, of course, you're talking about Face Yoga. You set up something that doesn't exist, and people believe you, don't believe you.
But when they walk up to you and then they show you, you don't know the individual. This could happen at airports. This could happen at a restaurant. It could happen anywhere. I used your technique that you gave on the rail for free. Look at my skin. It's cleared up. That satisfaction that you get as an entrepreneur is what keeps me going every day, day after day. And if there are 7 days in the week, I cry 5 days in the morning. Whether it is my mommy guilt, because I'm not giving enough time to my child. Whether it is a fire I have to burn again. Put out again.
Yes.
Whether it is the demotivating factors of our life.
Yes.
Whether it is fighting against being a woman entrepreneur in a man's world is not easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So fighting for your acceptance. Something or the other. But that satisfaction when that one individual comes and tells you, I am here.
Like, ma'am, you changed me.
Because of you. Keeps you going.
Okay. So how was it? You came back to Delhi and you launched your school and you launched your brand.
It did not happen so fast and so easily. I moved to Delhi about 12 years ago. And I wanted to, at that point in time, all I knew was I want to set up a salon. I want to do something which is in the beauty tech zone. And इतने टाइम पहले 12 साल पहले ब्यूटी टेक क्या होता है इंडिया में किसी को नहीं पता था.
Say that beauty tech is nothing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
यहाँ पे किसी को कुछ नहीं पता था. But at that point in time, because I did my cosmetology from France, I did my makeup there, and I spent a considerable amount of time in UK and Dubai. Although I was a nomad and I needed this grounding, it taught me a lot of independence. It taught me a lot of progression that was happening through the world for different skin types, and skin with color has a lot of issues as well, right?
Absolutely. And very different the way of approaching it.
Yeah. So I know I went to my father-in-law one day and I said, "Mujhe salon khulna hai." And they all looked at me. Being an iBanker, working for Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, this girl has just moved to Delhi and she's like, "I want to open a salon."
Right.
And not one. I said, "I want to open a chain of salons."
I mean, like,
ambition.
Yeah,
who does one, right?
That's right.
And he's looking at me. He's like, "Okay, set up your first one. If it's a success, I'll invest in you." And I was just looking helter-skelter. How do I set up one? Give me a business plan. I don't know how to write a business plan. I mean, I did my MBA and stuff, but when it comes to, putting it in an Excel and putting it in and the blend and the it's very different.
Intimidating.
It's very intimidating from doing a job where you're doing Excels, but of a different thought to all the permutation combinations. But one thing led to another. I set up a salon, which from 1 to 8, they blossomed, still working. I set up a PR firm in the interim because I worked briefly for 8 months with Anand and Anand. The IP, that's why the IP background, everything. Face Yoga IP, because that's where, I always say Safir Anand is my mentor. He gave me the hands-on skill. Manish Malhotra's store was opened by us in Delhi. So it gave me the rent, how to set up shop. It gave me the IP, what to do. It gave me the PR of how to promote and market it. That's where I set up a PR company parallelly because I was having too much fun attending and hosting all of the best parties.
I love that.
So while all of this was happening in 2013, by 2014, I got hit by lupus. I started correcting myself where I didn't find a solution. So I restored to Ayurveda and yoga. I built my first ghee cream. And then I learned that, ye to Ayurveda mein 100 times dhoti, घृत, ghee ritual hai. Nothing special that I created. But us time pe mujhe ye nahi pata tha. So I created it. I soothed myself. Dadi, nani ke nuske. Roti se garam ghee liya. Because when your skin is cracking and you're bleeding and you don't know what to apply, then you do everything under the sun, right?
I remember this. And in fact, like when I had my child, I think that was the only thing that would work. For breastfeeding. I'll just be your basic.
Absolutely. Yeah, for all the cracks of the body. And then I realized I read, and that's where I studied yoga. So I didn't do my yoga education before. I did it after. And then I realized that there is so much more, but the educated sect such as ours is not putting it together. That's why the Americans or the Western world is taking advantage of it. And someone needs to come into the forefront who can speak eloquently, who can read and understand the manuscript.
Market it and PR it in a way that it's exciting and interesting.
Yeah.
And the fancier Hudas and Estee Lauders actually say that, hey, this is what we should be doing.
Exactly.
Don't just blindly copy and ape the West. Because that might not be what your skin needs and what your child needs and what your life needs.
Yeah. And that is my journey. So by 2016, I started to control my triggers. I understood that everything starts at the gut. That is the Ayurveda knowledge, the Vata-Pitta balance. Today you talk about gut health. But 100 years ago, or even longer, Ayurveda and the Gita talk about all of this balance in your body.
Oh.
I went in for my allergy test. I understood that I'm allergic to capsicum and bell peppers. Such a small vegetable gives me such a massive reaction. And 99% of the world who is ailing from skin conditions actually has that 1 or 2 food allergy, which reacts so much more. We controlled that. I wrote the book, developed the exercises. Now here, my salon, as the things are meant to be, was my test base.
Yeah.
So I was talking to...
Wow. I love that. It's like what you said, manifestation. Like, it's the journey of life. If you didn't have the salons, then you might not have been able to practice it and put it to use.
Absolutely. Or get that test bench, first level feedback from so many women who are in a similar situation. And all of that came together. 2018, House of Beauty was born. 2019, I started talking about it.
Right.
I still remember one of the test benches, which now has become such a beautiful memory, is my baby shower hamper was actually hand-whipped shea butter, was lip scrubs, was, amalgamation of some nail polish, which was non-toxic. I got it from Dubai, specially to give everybody. But, you just have to find that one source that inspires you. Everything else God puts together
and makes it happen.
makes it happen. 2000 and until 2019, I started promoting Face Yoga. I had my first session with Cosmopolitan Nandini in her office.
Right.
We gave them Face Yoga facials and all of that, and then COVID hit. And while I was doing all of this, you do it as an entrepreneur, right? So you're at the back burner. You use influencers, you use people,
PR,
to promote your idea. COVID hit. One of my friends said, let's do a live. I said, okay, let's do a live. We tried it out for fun. I got an amazing response. People connected. The next thing I know, I became the face of the brand, which is not intentional.
I love that. I love that. And what a face it is. So.
Thank you. The transition has been very hard, but and I started enjoying it a bit too much. Today, a lot of D2C brands have mandates where the founders are coming ahead, trying to talk about it. But I guess it just happened inevitably. And when you really want to help individuals, it is a business, but it's an ethical business. And that's what I'm doing. And now there's no looking further.
No, but Vibhuti, I still remember this is during COVID. We would be stuck at home, and I had a friend. They're like, "Hey, do you want to do a face yoga session?" And you were bored out of your mind. And I remember like attending one of your sessions, and again, I think it was your positivity and your energy, and really, I think it was such a beautiful thing to be taught during a lockdown where you can't really move out. So also, it's an opportunity. It's maybe when life throws lemons.
Oh, absolutely.
You make tequila and lime.
Totally. Totally. Delhi is a very difficult society to penetrate. And for the first 6 months when I wasn't working, and I didn't want to work, I had no desire to work at that point in time, to be very honest. I was bored attending exhibitions, talking about clothes, talking about kitty parties, attending kitty parties, one party after another. I mean, Delhi, we live in a society, we have 3 tash parties at night and 2 kiddie birthdays in the afternoon, and that's a packed day.
That's a full-time job, actually.
That's a full-time job. While I enjoy it seldomly, I needed a little more purpose to life.
Meaning and purpose. And what meaning and what amazing purpose. So tell me some of the interesting transformations that you've seen through, say, Face Yoga in your journey, or through other people who've used it.
This lady, Nina, she came to me. So because with Face Yoga, we touch on the beauty wellness aspect as well. She did a HIFU facial recently, which left her with a facial paralysis stroke.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And she's given a full testimony on my Instagram page where she's gone for this one HIFU facial. Wow. And she's got a facial stroke. And we've been able to assist her, still are helping her as we speak. But about 70% of it is now finally reversed. So that is one transformation which is really close to my heart. And the fact that she's, gone public, because it takes a lot of courage to talk about it.
Yes.
As well. Social media puts a lot of pressure onto us. And as mothers and children, there has been this mother who got her 10-year-old son to me, saying that, he doesn't look good. He looks like a monster. His nose is a bit too big. I only put his photos with filters. She takes a photo of her son every day of her life. Every day. And then compares it with an edited version on Instagram. I don't think I've been able to help the child because the child didn't need any help. But what I did help is work on the mother's mind. Again, I'm not qualified to do so, but sometimes just consoling, counseling, that is not the real world.
And, be okay with who you are and your idea of beauty.
And not talk about these things in front of your child.
True.
Because you're putting your child's morale down.
Absolutely.
So, even if you feel a certain way, and I may not be able to help you, but don't have these discussions because the child is only 10, he's in his adolescence. Let him live, let him enjoy. And the adolescence years are when all of us are at our ugliest best.
Absolutely. They say sweet 16, sweet 18. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to look terrible. Just wait till you're 25, right? You will grow out of it. And
so allow the child to blossom out. So working with that mother-child duo has been very, very special.
I remember this time at the Met Gala, I think all the film stars actually had these face yoga sessions or laughing sessions before they actually went into their actual makeup and set up, just to make sure the actual face is regenerated.
Absolutely. I wanted to do face yoga. I wanted to talk about, how naturally you can help yourself. But I never thought that I would go and talk about opposition to Botox.
Right.
It was not meant to be. But in my practice, when I see the side effects and the perils that people are going through, the tosses, one eye becomes smaller, the odds of a bad job or a blotchy job, that is where now, I talk about putting in lesser and lesser toxins. We live in a polluted Delhi. There's so much toxin going in.
You're anyway struggling.
So, and it is such a beautiful change that all of these celebrities 10 years ago or 20 years ago would go in for a fresh injection before the Met Gala. Today are going in for natural face chiseling and jaw toning exercises, because they have also realized that natural alternatives are, at the end of the day, the ultimate solution.
I love that. Natural is better. I think this has been an unreal conversation for me. But we do have a smaller fun segment where we just want to do some quick questions. The first thing that comes to your mind from that. What's your go-to lipstick brand?
My go-to lipstick brand, before I launched my cherry tint, is Dior Lip Maximizer.
Yes.
I think they've launched all the perfect colors. I'm wearing one right now.
Yes.
And I'm trying to create a dupe of it, so it's cheaper for us Indians.
I like that.
but yeah, that's my go-to.
I love that. Weirdest beauty hack you've ever tried?
So I've not tried it, but this is a legit Ayurveda hack. To put cow urine on your face.
No way.
Yes.
No way. Would you try?
As long as I don't need to, I'm not sure of this one. But so that's one of the weirdest hacks. Oh, the second one. I have tried this. It's placenta creams.
Oh, okay, fine. I've heard of this.
and once I got to know about the source of the placenta, I stopped it. But I have tried it. So yeah, weird beauty hack. It works.
No, I bet so, yeah. Advice that you give to your younger self:
be as carefree as you can and speak your mind. Don't worry about the peril. And I did not do what I was meant to do. I only started it very late in my life. Had I started much earlier, sky would have been the limit. So go in for your passion.
Stay is the limit, Vibhuti. You're doing such an amazing job. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Switch my mind off.
Oh God, yes. I love that.
Much needed. And reverse mommy guilt.
Reverse mommy guilt. I like that. What is mommy guilt?
The fact that my drive pushes me harder and harder to finish all my tasks in a day. Whereas it's okay to push it to the next day. I can spend an extra hour with my child. That tussle is mommy guilt. Yeah, it's always.
So relate to that. Favorite place in India where you could spend your life?
In my husband's arms.
Oh my God. Oh. I'm going to send this to her. One word that comes to your mind when I say beauty?
Acceptance.
Dream?
Stronger and harder.
Peace?
At home.
What would you be like? How would you like to be remembered?
As a face yogi?
And final question for this show. What does Because She Can mean for you?
inspiring. You have been so inspiring. I still remember messaging you straight up. And as much of an extrovert I am, I'm actually that much of an introvert in my personal relationships. But what you have created with Because She Can is so empowering, is so inspiring. And every session that you create, you deserve
God, no, I
applaud here.
This is for you. And really, thank you so much for sharing your journey. It has been inspiring. And you know what really stays with me is how you've chosen to use every challenge that's come your way into something that is so special. And I can't wait to incorporate this in my life. So,
thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For hearing me out and for putting my story out there.